Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. You're with me tonight, Supajon Klinsuwan. His Royal Highness Crown Prince Wachilalongkorn and Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Maha Chakri Sirinthorn, on behalf of His Majesty the King, presided over the final process of the royal cremation ceremony of the late Princess Pecharat at the Grand Palace and Ratchabapit Sathit Mahasimaram Temple. The Crown Prince and Princess presided over the merit-making ceremony and moved the royal remains of Somdet พระเจ้าพักคินีเธอพระองค์เจ้าเพชรรัตนราชสุดาสิริโสภาพนวดี or the late Princess Pecharat from Dusit Mahaprasad into the Chakri Mahaprasad throne hall. Crown Princess Sirinthorn then presided over the procession of the royal ashes of Princess Pecharat into the main pagoda of Ratchabapit Sathit Mahasimaram Temple, where ashes of deceased members of the royal family remain. This marks the end of the royal cremation of Somdet พระเจ้าพักคินีเธอพระองค์เจ้าเพชรรัตนราชสุดาสิริโสภาพนวดี The 5-day royal cremation ceremony for the late Princess Pecharat, which started last Sunday and concluded today, involved convoluted and intricate proceedings that are difficult for even Thais to comprehend. Kun Bandit Good Bandit now takes us behind the scenes to meet the commentators who are responsible for explaining the ancient traditions to the viewers at home.
Religious rites, the transfer of the royal urn, the offering of sandalwood flowers. The 5-day royal cremation ceremony involved complex procedures all rooted in history. The formality of the ritual made it difficult for anyone, including Thais, to follow and understand.
A grand royal cremation ceremony like that of Her Royal Highness Princess Pecharat requires a great deal of preparatory work. We will now bring you to the work behind the scene of the narrators from Thailand's 6 free television channels.
13 respective presenters assumed the honorable role of the event narrators. 10 narrated in Thai and 3 in English, to help the audience better appreciate the live broadcast of the royal cremation ceremony.
การถ่ายทอดในครั้งนี้นะคะถ่ายทอดสดในครั้งนี้ถือว่าเป็นงานในหน้าที่ที่พวกเราทุกคน
Pornupson says that not only do the narrators had to inform the audience about the proceedings of the royal cremation ceremony, they were also sometimes required to go off script and provide ad-lib updates on unpredicted events. While it was already a great challenge to explain the royal proceedings in Thai, English narrators faced an even more challenging role.
I think there are a lot of details that we have to study. I think we've done a lot from the last royal cremation, and there are details about the personnel taking part, the royal chariots, and so on and so forth, which are all ancient traditions that we are not used to. So I think we have to go into details how to translate some of the names, which are quite specific names, from Thai into English, and some have no particular names for. So we have to explain in short what they means. I think that's quite challenging in a way.
Yeah, it is a very challenging, and also the formalities of the ceremony. This is like a mix between the Buddhism and also the Brahmanism, and the challenges is that we have to explain to the foreigners. This is not about just only in Thailand, but all the foreigners who listen and will understand the context as well.
The narrators took great pride in their duty to commentate on the royal cremation ceremony. Their work was supported by more than 400 staff, who worked tirelessly behind the cameras to ensure the success of the event. This is Bandit Good Bandit, reporting for Thai PBS.
Thank you, Kun Bandit. The possibility of a deadly tsunami caused chaos yesterday and criticism of Thailand's tsunami warning system and evacuation process. This was partly due to the delayed televised tsunami warning. The Prime Minister accepts that the tsunami warning and evacuation system needs improvement. Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra says that the 8.6 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Sumatra triggered a tsunami warning and panic in 28 countries, including Thailand's Andaman South. She admits the situation affected the tourism business as main airports in the south were closed. She says the situation will return to normal within 2 days. However, Thais and foreigners are criticizing the warning system as the televised warning was delayed, while no clear information on the process of evacuation was provided and there were insufficient government personnel available. Heavy traffic during the turmoil was also a big issue among seaside locals. The tourism sector in the south will continue to closely monitor the situation for the next 2 to 3 days as aftershocks are common after massive quakes. Tourism operators are proposing the government to increase the number of warning towers as sirens were unclear in some spots. Locals are worried about the telecommunications system, especially mobile phones, as the networks became overloaded in the disaster-affected areas. This problem delays the rescue efforts. Some add that there should be more disaster drills in seaside areas. Despite the Prime Minister admitting a lot of work is required on all problems mentioned, Anudit Nakornthap, Information and Communications Technology Minister, indicates that as a whole, the tsunami warning system and evacuation process is working well, especially in the areas where there have been tsunami drills. Rachin Thong Makun, president of the Patong Hotel Association in Phuket, said a number of tourists, Chinese and Thais in particular, have returned home, while many sea cruise tours have been cancelled due to the chaos. Disaster experts are warning of more earthquake aftershocks in the next few days, telling southern residents to remain cautious. Professor Thanawat Charupongsakull of Chulalongkorn University's Disaster Studies Unit says the fault lines along the Nicobar Islands and Indonesia have a high chance of experiencing more underground quakes in the next 2 days. The original quake off the coast Sumatra, 33 kilometers underground, was measured at 8.6 on the Richter scale. One of the many aftershocks was measured at 8.2. Professor Thanawat suggests residents along the Andaman coast should stay alert for the next few days for their own sake. Meanwhile, both Associate Professor Seri Suparatit of the Sirinthorn International Environmental Park and Associate Professor Penning Wanitchai of the Asian Institute of Technology says that the shift of the fault lines were almost horizontal, with only 3 degrees shift upwards, unlike the Indian Ocean earthquake in 2004, which was more vertical, the resulting tsunami causing massive death and destruction. Both scientists suggest a better warning system and evaluation are needed to keep the public safe from natural disasters. Day 2 of the 7 watch-out travel days during the Songkran period, and the accident toll currently at 343, with 30 people losing their lives, slightly fewer than the same period last year. Outbound highways from big cities in almost every direction are being closely monitored by the highway police, and additional lanes are open for travelers. Nakhon Ratchasima police have provided commuters traveling on the Mitraphap Highway, the main highway heading to the northeast region, with an additional lane to the right. This is an effort to ease the massive amount of outbound traffic once it hits the uphill pass. Inbound Mitraphap, therefore, is a lane narrower in certain areas. Accidents have occurred on many highways already. One of the main reasons is drivers falling asleep at the wheel. In Chumphon province, the gateway to the lower south, a pickup truck rammed into a bridge due to the driver's inability to stay awake at the wheel. 3 people died, 2 more were injured. Police in the north, meanwhile, are setting up signs to clearly indicate dangerous curves and downhill paths to warn drivers. Bus services in Chiang Mai have been tripled to meet the passenger demand, and extra carriages have been added to trains heading north for the same reason. Meanwhile, those who have made it to their hometowns have already started celebrating, including bathing Buddha images, paying respect to elders, and making merit. The Disaster Prevention and Mitigation Department has reported a total of 343 road accidents nationwide, with 375 people injured and 30 people dead. The 7 watch-out day travel ends on April the 17th. The government had been targeting 0 deaths on the road this Songkran festivities. fugitive and former Prime Minister and also brother of Thailand's current Prime Minister Thaksin has made a trip to Laos, the closest he's been to Thailand since his self-exposed exile in 2008. Greeted by hundreds of red shirt supporters, the former Prime Minister says that he hopes to return home this year. This is seen as a small but symbolic move by former Premier Thaksin. His visit to Vientiane, the capital of Laos, this morning was just 20 kilometers away from Thai soil, the closest he has been to Thai soil since August 2008. A crowd of around 1,000 pro-Thaksin supporters crossed the border to greet him. 63-year-old Thaksin is evading a 2-year jail term for a conflict of interest case leveled by graftbusters appointed by the very group which ousted him in a coup d'etat in 2006. He told his supporters he wishes to come home this year. In Parliament, the majority Pheu Thai party, which is a descendant of the former Thai Rak Thai party, is being accused of pushing for charter amendments, which the opposition and anti-Thaksin supporters claim contains the controversial idea of amnesty for all as part of the process of reconciliation, which could lead to Thaksin's return home as a free man. Earlier this month, the majority of the MPs were for the reconciliation plan, and the plan is now in the hands of Yingluck Shinawatra and her cabinet. This plan could become a law as early as this August. The government claims that the new constitution will benefit the country and wash the military powers away from Thai politics and create a true democracy. The government has approved a fiscal budget of more than 13 billion baht to construct the Mae Wong Dam in Nakhon Sawan province. The dam is to retain water from Sakak Krang River Basin, which flows to the Chao Phraya Dam. While the assessment of the impact on the environment has not been completed, the Secretary General of the Sub Naka Satien Foundation believes that the construction is not worth its flood prevention impact and adverse environmental effects.
The Mae Wong Dam project will be constructed near the Mae Wong National Park in Nakhon Sawan and Kampang Phet provinces. The reservoir will be able to retain 5 billion cubic meters of water. The government claims the project is intended to help prevent annual flooding. However, the Mae Wong Dam would only block one tributary. There remain more tributaries which flow towards the downtown area of Nakhon Sawan. Therefore, the Mae Wong project would not help mitigate flooding in the area. Sasin Chamlermlap, Secretary General of the Sub Naka Satien Foundation, believed that the Mae Wong Dam could help reduce the chances of flooding by only 30%. Therefore, the Mae Wong Dam would not be worth the resulting ramifications, such as the loss of more than 10,000 rai or 1,600 hectares of rich forest. Furthermore, the project would also affect the breeding of tigers in the area. Despite the environmental assessment being still underway, the Cabinet this week approved a budget of 13 billion baht for the construction of the Mae Wong Dam, which is expected to be completed in 8 years. From 2007 to 2011, the public debate on this issue has been held many times, and locals agreed with the project, as they believe it will solve the drought and flood problems in the area. Others, however, suggest that timber, which will be cut down to clear way for the construction, is what politicians really wish to get their hands on. Hugh Adams, Thai PBS.
And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. Make sure you enjoy your Songkran festivities starting tomorrow. I'm Suwachon Klin Sawan signing out for now. Sawadee krap.